All right, so third iteration. This thing is absolutely busted. It is by far my favorite weapon that in the game currently, and likely the best weapon that they've added in a very, very long time for two reasons. One, in particular, amalgamation rounds aiming down the sight for a short period without firing compresses the spread into a single high density projectile. That is, if you aim down the sights for around a second, it does instead of shooting the 3-round burst or the 3 projectiles period, it just shoots one huge projectile. And whenever you hit an enemy with that projectile, they are marked. Now, you don't have to hit them in the head. You don't have to be precision. You just got to hit them. Now, when marked, this weapon deals additional damage to marked targets. Defeating a marked target or landing a precision flat-out blow with an amalgamation round grants invisibility and true sight. So this is a gun that gives you free invis and true sight as long as you can chain precision hits on targets. And let's just take a look at that weaken real quick. So just off of its base, if I'm hip firing Carl, dummy of practice, 311 to the head, hitting all projectiles, 311 to the head. Just for context, I am at 100 weapons, power of 128, but everything is base 10 now, so the calculations are going to be the same no matter what you're doing. 311, 311, hit it to the body, 46, 46, 46. Now you say, oh, well, that's like an okay amount of damage. Yes, compared to most other things in the game, this is relatively comparable to a Graviton Lance. Now, where it gets really crazy, you mark him, and then if you shoot him again, 460 to 598 to 598 to 598, and then our actual damage numbers after that by hip firing, 605, 90, 90, 90, 89, just because that one projectile. Double penetrating. But this is wild. You're carrying around your own tractor cannon debuff. That is a 30% damage increase just by hitting them like this. Now, the tech normally you'd think like, oh, just change shots, just shoot them in the head over and over. Yes, you're going to consistently reapply debuff, but what you do is you mark him and then you just switch to hip fire and you're just doing more damage so much faster. Admittedly, as long as you're actually hitting the shots, this really only works well for big enemies, boss enemies, and the like. But even if you're not hitting most of your shots, you're still doing a just ridiculous amount of damage. This is so overtuned. Why on earth did they think it was a good idea for a weapon to launch with its own tractor cannon debuff and just dealing more? This was literally the only thing I used throughout the entire campaign. 2019 enemies. That's the amount of enemies you need to kill to complete the campaign if you use this thing. This thing is absolutely wild. I didn't even have the catalyst unlocked yet. We'll figure out what that does when we actually get there. But I'm just gonna display gameplay for the rest of the video of this thing just melting bosses. It's better than it's better than a heavy weapon. I did not use a special weapon. I did not use a heavy weapon throughout the duration of the entire campaign, specifically because this thing is so broken. Now, onto the actual rest of the melting boss footage. Now, all of the footage that you're currently seeing is done on the Legendary campaign, no tricks, whatever. I played solo, and when I'm telling you that this was literally the only gun I used, I mean quite literally the only gun I used. If there was a big enemy with a health bar that needed to die and it needed to die quickly, this was the weapon I'm using. Now, this season, especially, because there's a couple artifact mods related to scout rifles, that being whenever you get precision hits, you get increased stability and damage resistance with scout rifles, and there's also the anti-barrier scout rifle built in. That's not to mention volatile rounds if you don't actually feel like using the artifact mod, but it still works the same in the end. And yeah, when I say literally the only weapon I used, it was this. I can count like single digit amount of times I had to take out another weapon to do anything. Essentially, after the first mission, I pulled this thing out of the season pass and use it the entire time. That is just 8 straight hours of using one gun, this gun, the third iteration. And just for some brief campaign spoilers, spoiler warning, I'm just going to play the entire final boss fight. I'm using just this thing, and you're going to see how stupidly easy it was. Because it's not only the fact that you get to apply your own 30% debuff to any enemy in the entire game, it's not only the fact that you get invisibility and sure sight, and for me, I was working it into my build. I had the Spirit of Gear Falcon and Stylish Executioner on Priz on my prismatic and my exotic class item, so I was just combining that all the time. Now the volatile rounds really didn't matter, but they helped significantly because they are able to use the weaken property and deal a little bit increased damage based on that. But each individual projectile for this gun seems to proc volatile rounds anyway. This thing is just overtuned out the gate. Somebody tested this and either said yes, this was okay, or this wasn't tested. Now I don't know which is worse, because I am grateful to have a good gun that I'm just going to use for the entire time, but this was the easiest legendary campaign since, you know, they got introduced in the Witch Queen. This was by far the easiest legendary campaign, specifically due to this gun and this gun only. Not even any of the, new build shenanigans, prismatic, this, that, and the other. Third iteration has that oomph. It has the one gun carry factor that a lot of casuals, you know, I'm not a casual, but I do appreciate one gun carry factor. It's very simple. It is a very simple gun to use, and it is easy to do well with it, at least. You know, that it has the one gun carry factor. It has everything you need in a Destiny gun. It is like the epitome. This is peak power creep. So much added on one gun, cool utility. You know, admittedly, it doesn't look the best. I would say they're definitely much better looking weapons in the game, but you know, you can get over that by the fact that it is literally the best weapon in the game right now. And this is before even talking about this weapon's catalyst. Now, you know, spoiler alert, I'm not going to spoil it. It's going to be talked about in a different video, but it is a modified version of Demoralize. You know, you get that when you hit level 90, I think, in the season pass this time. You can actually get it right away instead of waiting for it. But, you know, this gun's only weakness is its reload speed. I would have hoped that the catalyst would have addressed that, but you know, we got a modified version of Demoralize. Void loaders on your arm. It does help. You know, it is ridiculously slow. Like if you do not have void loaders, I was using triple void loaders for the entirety of the duration, and now that boss fight was over, you know, went real quick onto the Crucible. Now, unfortunately, despite all the good that this gun has going for it in PvE and PvP, it is a little bit of a disaster. Plain and simple, no redeeming factors at all. The only thing that I noticed that this gun was able to do is prime, and that's pretty much it. Now, the thing is, do you want to waste your exotic on a priming tool when you can easily use a breach loading grenade launcher on that? Or do you want to use your exotic weapon on something, I don't know, maybe like the new exotic hand cannon, the 150 that's come out? That thing is crazy. It is very, very, very good to use right now. It's like a 150 that finally feels like, you know, it's supposed to be good. Now, this weapon, it's kind of weird because it has one of the best longest range gameplays in the entire game, if that makes sense, and it also has one of the better close quarter ranges. With special ammo getting nerfed, not everybody's gonna have a shotgun round on every life, so you know, your chimps, your monkeys, your piggies, like the people that are just gonna run you with shotguns, they're gonna get shut down. They're gonna get shut down really, really hard by this weapon. If you are hip firing and you do manage to, you know, actually hit somebody with all the projectiles coming from this weapon, you're going to kill them in 2, maybe 3 shots. This thing fires super, super quick. You're looking at time to kill, you know, sub 1 second. Nothing that impressive. But from your super long range, when you actually hit them in the head with that first shot, with that first fully charged shot, you have no follow-up. The follow-up for this weapon is really, really bad. I can see that this thing being crazy in team shotting situations. You know, we just got out of one of the most ridiculous scout rifle, pulse rifle metas we've ever seen. You know, maybe this has a little bit of a use, but it is a guaranteed 2-shot, at least if you are, you know, it is guaranteed 2-shot if you're hitting 2 fully charged shots to the head, regardless of their health level. And as you saw on screen right there, not only am I really bad, but it also demonstrates what this gun is lacking. It doesn't have, you know, the same kind of aim assist that you'd expect. It doesn't have the same kind of magnetism, and also, oh yeah, it's a projectile weapon, so it's given what it needs to give in PvE, and it's taken what it needs to take from you, that being your mental well-being, whenever you try to use this in Crucible. I would not recommend using this gun seriously in Crucible, but in any other activity, it is amazing. To say one last thing, I'm not a spectacular Crucible player, so I'm probably doing a bad job showing off this gun's strength and weaknesses, and, you know, I also, in my games, played on some of the worst maps known to man. You're only looking at footage now from Cirrus Plaza. It did perform a little bit better on Bannerfall. Unfortunately, didn't record that game. It did okay on Dissonance, but every map in Destiny has a lot of cover, a lot of ways to dodge cover. There's only one map, that whatever it's called on Savathun's Throne World, that I seriously consider this thing being taken as a threat. But even then, you know, just use a regular scout rifle at that point. As scout rifles outduel this long range. SMGs outduel it close range. It's weird. It is a weird weapon to use. I cannot confidently say that it's bad. However, I'm going to say that it's weird enough where you shouldn't consider using it unless you are a the best of the best type of player with projectile weapons. I mean, to say one last thing, this gun has absolutely everything you need except for being good in Crucible. Now, I love this thing. You're never going to catch me dead using it in Crucible again after today. It was not fun to use. But then again, I'm not the best Crucible player, so maybe, I don't know, somebody better than me, period, is going to pick this up and have a great time. But I couldn't get the hang of it. It's good in PvE. Leave it where it's good. I mean, besides that, I'm enjoying the hell out of the final shape. I mean, I reckon I haven't had this much fun at launch with an expansion since, I mean, Forsaken. And Forsaken was just a complete rework to how the game worked. So, you know, in terms of fun factor, it's fine. You know, the story has its ups and downs. I do complain about a lot of things. But, I mean, for the start of a brand new expansion, I think it's going really well. So, I want to thank each and every single one of you who clicked on this video. Have a great day, and take care now.